What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka Allfires. Now, not yet a full month removed from the domestic release of Spider-Man No Way Home in the United States. That was December 16th. We're actually getting a full in-depth interview already with Variety. Andrew Garfield sitting down with them and answering the kind of questions, well, we could have hoped for a month ago. What it was like to come back, what it was like to work beside Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland, and even answering the big question, would he ever come back to the role of Peter Parker? I know you guys saw a ton of the petitions to make the Amazing Spider-Man 3 happen, and of course the rumors that him and Tobey could be back somewhere down the road in the MCU. We're breaking down the entirety of this interview. There is so much in here between Variety and Andrew Garfield for his return to Spider-Man No Way Home. But first, if you could consider hitting the subscribe button. We do daily Marvel content here at this channel, and that's all we do. Everything from official Easter egg breakdowns, recaps, even interviews like this, to of course the anonymous 4chan plot leaks, industry insider scoops, and everything in between. So if that sort of thing's for you, consider hitting the subscribe button, leaving a comment down below. That'll automatically enter you to win all of our giveaways, including the next PlayStation 5. If you want, stick around to the end of the video. We'll get into all the giveaway stuff again there. I was going to issue a spoiler warning for this video, but there have been spoiler thumbnails on YouTube for over 2 weeks. Let's dive right in. The first question Variety asked of Andrew Garfield was, starting simple, why did you say yes to No Way Home? This is what he had to say, quote, "I wasn't expecting to ever have a conversation again about potentially playing Peter Parker. I felt very excited to just be a fan again. But I got this call from Amy Pascal and Kevin Feige and John Watts with this idea, and it was immediately undeniable. It sounded incredibly fun, incredibly spiritual, trippy, and thematically interesting. On a base level, as a Spider-Man fan, just the idea of seeing 3 Spider-Men in the same frame was enough. The pitch was really enticing. They said, you played this character in your own way, and what would you want to explore if you had an opportunity? If you were dumped into this other universe and faced with a younger you and an older you," of course that means Tom Holland and Tobey Maguire, "how will you respond?" We talked a lot about mentorship, we talked a lot about brotherhood, and about what it was to be an older brother, a younger brother, and the middle brother. There's also a thing of seeing someone you love walking down a path that you've already walked down, and you know it doesn't lead to the place where you ultimately meant it to go. That character is isolated in his emotional experience and his physical experience, but what happens when that aloneness gets blasted wide open and you come to realize that you've never been alone, and there are other brothers going through the exact same thing? That's a big spiritual journey to go on, man. And then we just milked out all the fun we could possibly have, to which Variety responded, you and Tobey Maguire really did this. This wasn't a green screen set up in your driveway, and they have a profound impact on Tom Holland's Spider-Man. And this is what Garfield had to say, quote, "We were shooting for 2 weeks, Tobey and I, but I think we managed to achieve something that's not just showing up and going, hi, bye. My Spider-Man got to save his younger brother's romantic relationship potentially, and to heal the most traumatic moment of his own life through doing it for his younger brother, making sure that he didn't have the same fate. There's something cosmically beautiful about that. It meant getting a second chance at saving Gwen. You know, the spirit that Zendaya brings to MJ is so heartfelt and pure and loving, and Emma brought that similar unique spirit to Gwen." Variety then asked him to talk about his time with his fellow Spider-Man and asked if they shared anything off screen or compared notes about spandex and fans. This is what Garfield had to say. "I think the first time we were all there in the suit together, it was hilarious because it's just like 3 ordinary dudes who were actors who are just hanging out, but then also you just become a fan and say, oh my god, we're all together in the suits and we're doing the pointing thing. There was talk about going into the bathroom and, you know, patting around the package. We talked about what worked for each of us. Tom was jealous because I have a little zipper in my suit and can get my hands out very easily. To work on his phone, he had to use his nose because he couldn't access his hands. We would have deeper conversations too, talk about our experiences with the character, and to have Amy Pascal there, who has seen through 9 movies, including Spider-Verse, it was revelatory experience for her, realizing how much life and time she'd given to this character. That was beautiful and profound. There's a line I improvised in the movie, looking at Maguire and Holland, I tell them I love them. That was just me loving them." That's awesome to hear that that line was improv, but really I feel better for Andrew Garfield experiencing that feeling than anything, and I've talked about it at length here at the channel. Sony did Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield so dirty when it came to replacing their Spider-Man. Both of them, even though Tobey Maguire got to finish a trilogy, both of them had the cord yanked basically mid-project. Spider-Man was headed into Spider-Man 4, and The Amazing Spider-Man never got that 3rd film, and then the replacement Spider-Man were basically announced as if they had been secured before the plug had been pulled. Basically, it's like finding out your girlfriend who dumped you or your boyfriend who dumped you already had a new boyfriend or girlfriend, and then announce it the next week on social media. It was really bad and tragic. There were reports of it, and it sounds like from the beginning Andrew Garfield wasn't bitter about this at all, saying that he was ready to go when he got the phone call, but it was not smooth running for both of these guys with Sony. So to hear that this has basically had a catharsis of sorts and healed all wounds for all players is amazing to hear, and I think that really comes through in that moment where he's able to tell them he loves them because he's just reached that point where he's okay with everything. And really, for me, that's awesome to hear about Andrew Garfield, the person, not his Peter Parker. However, that leads right into Variety's next question. A lot of the conversation about this movie has been about a sort of redemption for your Spider-Man. Narratively, commercially, how does that feel? And this is what Garfield had to say, quote, "I am so grateful. I'm really, really grateful I got to tie up some loose ends for the Peter I was playing. I love that character, and I'm grateful I got to work with these incredible actors, this incredible director, and Marvel in conjunction with Sony. It was joyful and a feeling of closure for me. There were so many unanswered questions for my Peter where we left it. I got to step back in and get some healing for him. And also really supporting Holland's Peter and honoring his character completing that trilogy, not distracting or detracting from it. That's when they asked, point blank, would you be open to coming back to the character? Quote, I mean, yes, definitely open to something if it felt right. Peter and Spider-Man, those characters are all about service to the greater good and the many. He's a working class boy from Queens that knows the struggle and loss and is deeply empathetic. I would try to borrow Peter Parker's ethical framework in that. If there were an opportunity to step back in and tell more of that story, I would have to feel very sure and certain in myself." And what he's basically saying there, let me break that down because there's some nuance to this quote, is that taking directly from the character he would be playing, there would have to be a reason. There would have to be more of a service. There would have to be more for this story. I take this and really immediately compare it to what Chris Evans said about not coming back to the role of Captain America because they stuck the landing and he wouldn't want to do it unless there was something important, something more to add to that story. I feel like Andrew Garfield's saying something in the same line here, in the same vein, along the same lines, and really borrowing from Peter Parker, being like, look, I'm open to it if it's right and if it's in service of the greater good. I'd have to feel very certain in that in order to do so, but he was able to come back for this, so the rumors of the Amazing Spider-Man 3, or maybe a return down the road for a multiverse scenario with what might go on with Secret Wars in the MCU, he's open to it, and that's great to hear, which means if the story is right, he'll be there for it. And I think a lot of fans are going to be super excited to hear that. Guys, let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below. Some of this very emotional, some of it amazing to hear. I am all ears about y'all's feedback. Any part of this, I'm going to spend a lot of time in these comments. These are the moments. This is the stuff we love. We talked about this for a year and a half. Now we finally get to hear it from Andrew Garfield himself. Let me know all your feedback down below. Quickly, let's jump into that giveaway stuff before I let you go. All right, we're still giving away a PlayStation 5 at 940,000 subscribers, and we're giving them away every 20,000 all the way up to 1 million, a lot more frequently than we have in the past. We've also got some amazing giveaways to announce and some other milestones here this year. So if you want to be entered to win, all the same rules will always apply. Hit the subscribe button because you need to be a subscriber, then leave a comment down below because it's truly random. The more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. All winners will be announced at the end of videos, the same way we're doing here. The best way to keep up with the content has always been to hit the notification bell with all notifications turned on, and as always, if you like today's video, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the like button. My name's Michael Roman. You can find me in a couple of places, Instagram and Twitter at @IamFires. You can also find me on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Apple, iTunes, wherever you listen to original music under the name All Fires. And while I sincerely appreciate you checking that channel out, thanks for checking this one out. Stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.